I tried to work as a freelance web developer, and here is what happened. On the beginning of 2022, I decided to take another step in my career and try to work as a freelance web developer. My motivations were simple. I want to have more freedom about what I'm working on, and also I want to have elastic work hours with hopefully a part-time working. My plan was simple. Create a portfolio that will take you a week or two, publish LinkedIn profile, and make courses to get the badges on my profile. Then let's start looking for the gigs, and while I'm looking for the gigs, write to some web designers which already have the projects, have the clients, so they will recommend your services as a web developer. And optionally, find a job on a part-time, hopefully half-time, and I thought about the service named lemon.io. The reality wasn't that bright. A portfolio, instead of taking me 2 weeks, took me 4 weeks. Getting a part-time job at lemon.io didn't work. Also, my LinkedIn profile was polished for nothing. Get the gigs, I tried to find them on various places. Facebook groups, Fiverr, UpWork, Karat, Proxify, Useme, local portals, and private lessons. I'll start with Facebook groups. I highly dislike them because it's very hard to get a gig there, because when someone posts the job, within like 1 hour you get like 30 commissions, and mostly of them are agencies, so getting through that big crowd is very hard for a newbie. Also, Fiverr and UpWork. Those are international services, and international service means international pay. Actually, it's partly true, because international service and international pay means also international competition, and getting through it was kinda impossible for a guy that have no stars, no reviews, and it looks like almost impossible to get any gig through it. At least I tried to get a gig through those portals, but without any success. Also, I tried to be an interviewer at Karat, which sounds very great, very cool. However, after I get through all the interviews, I have run background check, and sadly it takes almost a month. It required some additional documents and lots of work just to work for them. And at the end of the day, I decided to refuse that offer. Also, there is a service named Proxify, which gathers experienced developers or other professions and gives you clients that you could work for. That's pretty good. However, when I got the offer, which was for a full stack Angular developer with PHP, I decided to refuse that, as I wanted to move from those technologies into React and Node.js. So that wasn't something that fulfilled me, and that wasn't something that I like to work on. It was a part-time job, it was a half-time job, so it sounded pretty great. However, those technologies were a big turn-off for me at the end of the day. The most of my gigs that I have got were through portal named Useme and some other local portals. Those are the portals that I have the best experience, but I will talk about them later. Also, I decided to give a private lessons, which turned out very interesting for me. It was a great experience. It learned me a lot of patience and knowing how good I am as a programmer, because I'm a software developer with 11 years of experience, and I got to teach people that are just starting, and they don't learn so quick as I do, and I had to have a lot of patience explaining many things, many times the same thing. I need to be patient, but it was a very learning experience for me. About the gigs that I have got, there were small gigs mostly, fixing something on a WordPress website, creating new functionality, improving performance of the website, and so on. But I also got a bigger gig, which was creating a blog portal about the news from the metaverse and NFTs. However, after a few weeks on working on this, the client decided to give that job to another company. And I want to talk about the reality of the freelancing. The first obvious thing is that it's a crunch. In a regular job, we mostly work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so we get like 40 hours a week, including coffee breaks, socializing, calls, etc. On freelance, it was from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. mostly, from Monday till Saturday, sometimes even Sunday. So it was much more work. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Of course, when you start working as a freelancer, you mostly know that you have to work more. But the question is, how long can you go with that long working hours? Can you go like that for 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, maybe 3? At some point, you get to stop. And the question is, how long can you get through it? Because on the beginning, you for sure need to have inner strength, inner drive to do it for like month, 2 months. So the question is, are you really ready for that? Also, what I have stepped upon was the problem with work-life balance and ending the work at the time when I stopped working. When we work in a corporate job, it's pretty easy because at the 5 p.m. we close the laptop, we maybe walk off from the building, from the office, and that's all behind us. In case of freelance, it's not that easy. I found myself that even when I wasn't working, I was thinking about the job, what I have to do, what isn't done, and what to do tomorrow, etc. And I really couldn't stop thinking about that. So that resulted also when I hung out with someone, I wasn't really present in that moment because I was thinking about all those things in the future, let's say. Of course, there is also a big difference, at least from the perspective of the second world guy, where the corporate job pays you a few times more than you could get out of from the gigs. Also, that's the good question. Are you ready to getting paid less than you could get in a corporate job? Hopefully you could get that much also after some time. I was just kind of on the beginning of the project. I was kind of on the beginning of that path. It was about 2 months, including creating a portfolio. So maybe in the future you could get to the point of salary that is comparable with what you have actually in a corporate job. If I get to start freelancing again with what I have learned, I would start small. If you are thinking about getting into freelance, I would recommend you to start with some small gigs. Those are really gigs that you can do part-time. You don't have to quit your job, work full-time. Those are things that you can work part-time, like improving the websites, making some fixes. Believe me, it will be totally fine. You will get to learn how it is to work on freelance, what's the reality of this, is it something for you? And I would really recommend to use some local services, local portals with gigs. Also, I would say that you don't really need a portfolio. You don't need a shiny website with all the headers and your services and stuff. On the beginning, it's really not essential, believe me. and that take lots of your time before you start working. So I would highly recommend, don't start with a portfolio. If you really want to start from portfolio, use some WordPress or something like this. Don't waste too much time on this, because from the client's perspective, it's just a website and they don't care if you wrote a nice code from the scratch with your own framework or you are just using WordPress. They simply don't care. They don't see the difference. And that's all in today's talk. In the future, I plan to get back to the Lego project. Maybe I will step on something else. We'll see in that future. So if you like what I'm doing, please leave a like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one.